And I'd like to take a brief moment, as all moments are, I suppose, to thank my writers. You know, the writers are so specialized these days. There's a joke writer, he gives you jokes. There's a gag writer, he gives you gags. There's a head writer, he gives you... What I'm saying is things are they're specialized.
Went to one of these fancy restaurants. Boy, they really specialize with all these fancy waiters. They have the butter
they
waiter
specialize.
Who gives you
They
butter.
specialize. The waiters, they specialize.
That's right.
I don't think they're fancy. I think they specialize. The water waiter brings out the water.
Uh-huh.
You have the what is
the
it?
head waiter.
Coffee waiter, yeah.
Yeah. And then what else?
And then
The head waiter.
Now, they're very specialized.
And this was one of these real fancy places. I felt impressed. 38 waiters for one table, and they specialize at these fancy places. They really specialize. The butter waiter came over and gave us some butter. The coffee waiter came over and gave us some coffee. The water waiter came over and gave us some water. The head waiter came over. They really specialize. They know that place, I guess, or something.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Seem to be familiar with the place.
My goodness.
George Miller, and he had this joke. He said, I just read that. That's how he talked.
Okay.
He goes,
Sounds like you a little bit.
That was a little influence. He goes, I just read that Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart wrote his first symphony when he was 14. These are the kind of people that make you realize what an utter sham your life has been.
Yeah.
When I was 14, I was in a Macdonald's going, you want lids on these?
I heard that when Beethoven was 16, he wrote his first symphony. This is the kind of guy who makes you realize that what an utter sham your life has been. When I was 16, I was in a McDonald's saying, you want lids on these?
Now, what a perfect choice, huh?
Yep.
My mom would always do this. She would say stuff that would make me feel insecure, I guess without meaning to. I remember on my 20th birthday, instead of saying happy birthday and all that, she had to bring out the fact that Charles Percy, the senator from Illinois, when he was 20, he was the head of Bell and Howell Corporation. Can you see that, a 20-year-old kid? Yeah, we'll have a stockholders meeting at 10 o'clock. I'm flying to the coast at noon. I'll be meeting with the president of General Motors at 5 p.m. When I was 20, I was working at McDonald's. You want lids on these?
One of the many things that I love about you was your love of George Miller, who was a great friend of mine.
Oh, my God, I love George Miller.
Yeah.
Can I do a George Miller joke?
Yeah, do a George Miller joke.
This is a George Miller joke. He goes, I was watching Wild Kingdom with my mother.
Yeah.
It said at the end, directed by Wolfgang Bauer. Produced by Wolfgang Bauer. My mother said, do you suppose that's the same? Wolfgang Bauer?
Is that the same Wolfgang Bauer? Oh, man.
Once we were watching the program, The Wild, Wild World of Animals on TV. You ever see that show? And at the end, they roll the credits. This is true now. It says, photography, Wolfgang Bayer. That's the guy's name. Right underneath it says, field supervision, Wolfgang Bayer. And my mom says, I wonder if it's the same Wolfgang Bayer. I thought, wow, it's countdown to senility.
What's your favorite joke of George's?
Well, my favorite joke, and it'll take a little explaining. I've told it over and over again. It was told by his girlfriend at his memorial after he had passed away. He and his girlfriend not getting along very well, and George apparently one night had come into her apartment while she was gone and done some mischief. And so she called the police. And she sent them to George's house, and the cops were saying, do you know anything about this? And he said, well, no, what happened? He said, well, among other things, somebody wrote an obscenity on her bedside picture of Jesus Christ. And George said, "Oh, I thought that was Dan Fogelberg." Strong, huh?
Sure. There's a passing resemblance, no question.
Yeah. So one of the great things that I loved about you early was when you and I started talking about George Miller, who was a good friend of mine and an interesting man and very, very funny. And the fact that you shared a love for George Miller, I always took that to heart.
Well, there's very few people that are pure comics, and he was one of them. I remember I had a stupid sitcom at one point. I don't know what I was doing. And I said, "You want to come on the thing?" And he's like, "Well, how do you do that? Like, you just pretend to be another guy?" Like, and why would a stand-up know anything about acting or care to do it? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It doesn't really make any sense. And
well, he didn't want that at all.
No, I just wanted
because when he was first on the Tonight Show, and he was the first of our group to get on the Tonight Show.
oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
And he was just exploded. He had like 4 or 5, maybe a half a dozen killer shots.
Yeah.
Bang, zoom.
Well, thank you very much. Last time I was here, I talked about the fact that comics, they always have a tough time with women. Boy, I don't know what it is. We're notoriously bad. I want to tell you about a girlfriend I had a couple of years ago. And we were having a lot of problems, you know. So what we did, we actually asked for help from one of these love-warn columns. You know, those columns in the newspapers where a lot of morons from around the country who can't solve their own problems, they write in and they seek advice from this one central moron. So, well, like the best correspondence I ever read, some lady wrote into Ann Landers. She says, "Dear Ann, I don't know what to do. I've been having a torrid love affair with a married man whose wife has been out of the city. Recently she came back and I think she suspects something. Every time I go over there now his wife won't open the door. What should I do?" And Ann wrote back a typical answer. "What's the matter with you? This man is married. Of course his wife won't open the door. You need more help than I can give you. See your clergyman." And the woman wrote back, "I'd like to, but every time I go over there his wife won't open the door." Anyway, we actually got back this answer, see, and they said what we should do is we should really lay it on the line. I should tell her what I don't like, she should do the same. She went first. She said sometimes I would embarrass her, see, because sometimes I'll put people on, I talk in a dumb guy voice, and it would make her uncomfortable, and I didn't know that. Like, one time we're in this restaurant, and there's this real nervy waiter. Wanted to make sure I knew about the tipping procedure. And he comes over and he says, "Be sure to leave 15 or 20%. "Oh, no, I eat everything on my plate." So then it's my turn, right? Now, I really liked her, but I didn't understand her family. And we went up to visit them and stay overnight in Northern California one time, right? So her sister, believe it or not, they were talking about this. Her sister was a very wealthy lady of the evening, and I knew this even before we went into the house to meet her, because I just read this article that said your car reflects your personality, and I noticed there was this Rolls Royce out in the driveway parked on its back, so I was pretty sure something was going on, right? Hunch, right? Okay, so now I get to meet the father, right? Who is like, he's a retired algebra teacher, probably the single most stupid person I have ever met. Boy, oh boy, that guy was dumb to the third power. He was really, and he's one of these guys, he's real religious, which is fine, but he was real pushy about his religion. You know, people like that. As soon as I got in the house, he starts giving me the 3rd degree. "Young man, do you believe in everlasting life?" "Well, yeah, so far." So I figure I'm going to have an argument with the old man, right? So I say, let's don't stay here like we planned, and we went to the Motel 3 across town. And have you ever been to the Motel 3? Very low budget, very low budget. The desk clerk had peanut butter instead of eyebrows. I didn't know what that meant, right? And there's no receipts at the Motel 3. When you give them the money for the room rent, there's no receipts. Instead, the same guy followed me around night and day. "Yeah, he paid. Yeah, he paid. Yeah, he paid." I talked to the guy later. He said he likes to snort dynamite. I'd never heard of that. And the room was terrible, right? We got the room, and there's insects crawling around, and I complained, so they brought in some of this discount insect killer. Did you ever try that? What a jip. What a weak product. Boy. Had to catch the bugs by hand and then dip them in this stuff. Did you ever see that commercial, the one for Raid? Raid kills bugs dead. That's nice. I hate to see a roach in a coma. Let's all think about that for just a second. So anyway, that was like the fatal night, you know. We split up then, and we got back together just recently, and now her only complaint is I'm a little bit flabby. I've been working on it. I'm on a physical fitness program, and right after the show, I have to go home. I'm doing 25 push-ups, 25 sit-ups, 50 knee bends, and then I go out and I jog 3 miles. And, yeah, either that or take a Valium. I haven't decided. Yeah, I've been on the Valium diet now for about a month and a half. And no, if you take enough Valium, it will help you lose weight. That's right, that's true. It doesn't really curb your appetite, but most of your food falls on the floor. Hey, you've been real nice. Thank you very much. Thanks a lot. Thank you.
How you feeling?
Oh, I'm
I have to do a
feeling pretty
commercial
good.
already? All right, we'll do this. We'll be right back after this. From one of our sponsors.
William Morris was handling him, and they started sending him out on situation comedy things. And after a while, he just stopped showing up. He said, "I don't get it. You know, what am I supposed to do? You know, I don't want to. I don't know." And I understood that, but it was also. There were a lot of things. All he really wanted to do was write and tell jokes.
Yeah.
That's all he wanted to do.
And play pool.
Play pool, that's right, at which he was very good.
Yeah.
You know, I love pool. Pool is my all-fun. Yeah, I love pocket billiards, and I'm going to Dr. Q's in Seattle.
Right.
This is all plugged so far, right? Yeah, but somebody said to me, well, do you like pool better than sex?
Oh.
And I said, well, no, because with sex, you don't have to keep one foot on the floor.
Yeah, that's
See,
right.
It's a billiard crowd. It's a billiard crowd.
I remember one time he said, I got a big pool game tonight against, and the guy's name was, the guy he was playing, his name was Bob's the Farmer. And I said, wait, is his name Bob the Farmer? He goes, no, Bob's the Farmer.
Yeah.
This is my favorite one of all time. This is a favorite joke of George Miller's, his sex life.
Oh, God. Here's something you should never say in bed. That ought to hold you for a while, Gertrude.
Well, I got a new sexual etiquette book, a lot of do's and don'ts I wasn't familiar with. For instance, after making love, the man should never say to the lady, "Okay, Gertrude, that ought to hold you for a while."